What's going on, guys? My name is Nap and welcome to my first ever World of Warcraft commentary video. Now this is going to be a POV video from my perspective. I'm playing my Outlaw Rogue and this is my guild's first actually heroic opulence kill here. Now as far as my character is concerned, I'm rocking about a 393 item level, I believe it was at the time of recording this video. I'll actually link my talents and my armory here somewhere, either on the screen or in the description. But as far as talents, I play pretty standard talents that you would find. The only real exception to what might be the optimal talents is I actually play Killing Spree in that final level 110 tree, rather than, I believe it's Blade Rush is the alternative. I think Blade Rush is actually more optimal for Outlaw in general, but I really like Killing Spree. I think it's a badass animation, so screw you. I'm gonna play what I want. It actually might be better here too, because you'll see later in the fight, when you do fight Opulence, he spawns a bunch of ads, and I can almost guarantee you that Killing Spree will be better for burst DPS. So for those situations where you really have to burst some ads down, it might actually be better. So as far as my mentality is going, if you're not really familiar with Opulence, the fight starts with your raid group being split up into two, each fighting their own kind of mini boss, and really all you're doing is navigating through these different trap rooms while avoiding the mechanics the boss throws at you. So this part of the fight, or this phase rather, takes a little bit of time. So as far as my thought process or cooldown usage here, I'm pretty much throwing Adrenaline Rush off cooldown because there's no real reason to hold on to that. The only part of the fight where I'm really ever concerned with specific timings for abilities is actually what I alluded to earlier, when those ads come out for the main Opulence fight, and I'll call those out as I see them. So as far as my traits for my rogue, I rock 2 Deadshot Azurite pieces and 1 Ace Up Your Sleeve, I believe the third one's called. It's kind of like a discount Deadshot. It also gives benefits to your Between the Eyes ability. Now as far as Outlaw in general, I've really enjoyed the playstyle with those Deadshot traits. Not only am I simming like 4 to 5k higher than I was before I got those traits, but it really just kind of frees up the rotation and the fluidity of the spec. Not having to be so reliant on your rolls is really nice, just for playability. It feels really bad prior to having Deadshot, where you would be spending a lot of energy to build up those combo points and then, you know, using it on a finisher, Roll the Bones, to not do any damage because you're just rolling shitty buffs essentially. So having Between the Eyes take priority over Roll the Bones is great. Having to actually spend combo points on a damage dealing rather than just hoping to get lucky on rolls is so nice, and just like a breath of fresh air for the spec. I've really actually been enjoying Outlaw, and I'm still new to it. I actually traditionally play ranged all throughout Legion, and even through Uldir progression I played a Fire Mage. So feel free, if you guys see anything in the kind of glaring in my gameplay here, feel free to shout it out. I'm still very much new. So here you can see we've actually entered the second to last room of this first phase of the fight, which is the gem room. You're supposed to go grab a certain gem on the wall that kind of best suits your class. I was told to grab the Opal. My raid leader Zarek actually kind of makes all my IQ necessary decisions for me, so I said yes sir, and just listened to him. But I believe the Opal gives around like a 2% damage increase for every unique target you deal damage to, so it's gonna really start to stack up in the final phase where you fight Opulence himself. Now here we've entered the final room of the first part of this fight, and really nothing too drastic is changing here, except that every mechanic that he did earlier is now just exaggerated. So you'll see, for example, Crush here, and when he does his flame pillars, it's just a much wider area arc in front of him, whereas previously it was around a 60 to 70 degree angle. Here you can see the Flames of Punishment, it's much more 180, so you just have to kind of be careful to hug his butt a little bit. And really, hugging his butt is kind of the name of the game for most of the mechanics. That'll avoid Crush, that'll avoid the Flames of Punishment that you just saw. The only other real mechanic you have to worry about during these trap room phase of the fight is dodging a laser that will occasionally follow you and place lava in the path that you travel. You just want to make sure to kind of take that out of the raid, because you don't want that interfering or overlapping with any of the other mechanics you have to deal with. Now also another important important thing about this fight is that you need both of these mini bosses to be relatively the same HP throughout the fight. You want them dying very close, if not almost at the same time to one another. If one of these ads actually survives when any of your group enters that final opulence room itself, the boss gets like a huge HP buff, and I believe he might even get like a damage buff or maybe you know, a resistance buff of some sort. I'm not too familiar. Just kill them both at the same time and you guys will be fine. So here we're just finishing off the rest of the DPS. I believe if you do start to kind of falter a little bit and you see that one room's kind of outperforming the other, just tell your GPS to just chill for a little bit and let the other room catch up. So here we enter the final room. Here's Opulence himself in all his glory. This is actually probably my favorite fight of the raid so far. It's just really cool. And I love, you'll see when the ads start to come in, you can start to do some damage. So I actually get targeted with the coin toss buff, or debuff rather, right away, which you can see here. So you just need to stack all your raid on top of you to avoid that damage. It does a lot of damage. You can see right here when it comes down, boom, that's a ton of raid wide damage. Now he's channeling Spirits of Gold, so I want to be prepping right now Blade Fury into Killing Spree. So here I should be popping Blade Fury, yep, there it is, and Killing Spree, and just disgusting AoE clear that Outlaw really excels in. Here I actually popped my Blade Fury pretty late. I should have been popping that right before the cast time for those Spirits of Gold finished. So that's kind of my bad. And one of the good things about these videos is it's going to be a lot of good self-reflection for me and helping me get better as well. So here I have the liquid gold targeted on myself. Now in heroic, you don't really have to worry about dropping this too far off. This was definitely not the best spot to drop this, guys. Don't be me. You know, be a little safer and take this out to the perimeter. I think I was just being a greedy ass DPS and seeing that I was doing relatively well on the meters, so I was like, ah, it's fine. My group will be fine. And if you keep a tight stack like our guild is doing here, you'll be totally fine. I believe in Mythic difficulty that liquid gold does spread eventually, so it's almost required to take it to the very edge of the room, but on heroic you can get away with it. So here he's channeling Spirits of Gold again, so I should be popping Blade Fury any second now. There it is. And Killing Spree. You can see this Killing Spree is just a shitload of damage, especially if you have the crit buff rolled, which I luckily did here. That just does a lot of damage. And the other good thing about this fight for Outlaw is that these ads stay really condensed on the boss. It's a really tight pack, so it's really good for keeping your Blade Fury spreading that entire time. You can actually probably just get away with targeting Opulence the whole time and not have to be like worrying about tap targeting different ads to, you know, keep that pressure spread. Here you'll see me, I just run off and help DPS these ads so they don't reach the perimeter of the room and give that buff to Opulence. But this is kind of the name of the game. Besides just navigating through the trapdoors, the fight's actually not too bad on heroic once you get into this final room here. And our guild found that it's really not like we killed this like the first time we got to this room. Just as long as you have almost all your DPS and healers, and especially obviously your tanks alive, by the time you get here you should have no problem. And this is just rinse repeating mechanics at this point. You can see here Opulence is around less than like 2% HP. He'll go down right there. There's the kill. So yeah, that's kind of the fight, guys. It's really not too hard. You just have to make sure to you know, make smart use of your cooldowns if you're aiming to burst, especially if you're a cleave or AoE class. Definitely you want to be saving those cooldowns for when these ads come out, but until then feel free to throw any offensive cooldowns just off cooldown as you navigate through the rooms, and just always, you know, like always, focus on your mechanics. And you should be good to go here. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, please feel free to reach out in the comments. I'm still very much getting used to the Between the Eyes over Roll the Bones priority for Outlaw Rogue, and just Rogue in general, so I'm sure I'm not you know, top class or anything, but I did pretty well. I did top the meters here. So yeah, guys, please leave me a comment, a like if you liked it, a dislike if you didn't, and I just really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and I'll catch you next time.